Time was, if you wanted to experience something horrifying on Xbox One, you had to play Fighter Within. Make it stop! Not anymore though, thanks to a diverse bunch of terrifying looking horror games coming to Xbox or probably coming to Xbox. Here are 5 future reasons to keep the lights on at night.
Good night, hon. Sweet dreams.
In the ranking of things you don't want to be in a horror game, a baby is right at the top, above even nameless military grunt or nerdy comic relief. And so that's what you are in Among the Sleep, a defenseless 2-year-old whose life of cake and non-horror is suddenly interrupted by a sentient talking teddy bear.
My name is Teddy. Nice to meet you.
Hi Teddy, please don't kill me. The game takes place in first person as you and Teddy explore a series of surreal dreamscapes while being chased by a large shadowy monster that, I'm guessing, would probably win a fight with a 2-year-old child. Among the Sleep came out on PC last year, but it's also coming to PS4 and Xbox One later this year. Kid still hasn't learned to walk properly in that time though. Come on man, help me out here, there are monsters.
Forest green, quiet, tranquil, a nice place to camp. But when the sun goes down, something stalks the forest.
Slasher Volume 1, Summer Camp, is a love letter to the Friday the 13th films. It's an asymmetric multiplayer game in which you play either a sexy teen or a supernaturally powerful murderer who's going to put an end to their sexy teening with a big knife. We haven't seen much of the game yet beyond this initial teaser, but the developers clearly know their 80s horror and have hired a bunch of horror legends to work on the game, including director and visual effects maestro Tom Savini, Friday the 13th composer Harry Manfredini, and 4-time Jason Voorhees actor Kane Hodder, who'll be doing mocap for the game's killer.
Summer camp. I'm gonna kill every one of you motherfuckers.
We're reserving judgment until we see some more, but based on the premise, we're optimistic. Let's hope it's more Friday the 13th Part 4 The Final Chapter than Friday the 13th Part 5 A New Beginning, am I right?
We struggle, anguished and distressed, until we are at last pulled under and stripped of all that we are, all that we have been, and ever will be.
Draugen, as anyone who played Skyrim might be able to guess, are undead creatures from Norse mythology, and probably what are going to be bothering you throughout first-person psychological horror game Draugen. Set in the 1920s in a remote Norwegian fishing village where everyone has mysteriously vanished, Draugen casts you as a nature photographer trying to piece together what has happened and where the villagers have gone. I'm going to guess inside some Draugen, but I'm willing to be proved wrong. Developer Red Thread Games is the team responsible for the well-received episodic adventure game Dreamfall Chapters, so its pedigree checks out, and what we've seen so far looks like some excellent slow-burn psychological horror with pleasing Lovecraftian undertones. Red Thread says it's due out this year, but is also planning to take its game to Kickstarter soon? At least something about the game is optimistic, even if it's just the release date.
Drawn inexorably back into that maelstrom of wistfulness, fear, and regret.
Caffeine imagines a dystopian future where everyone is hopelessly addicted to coffee. Honestly, where do these sci-fi writers get their ideas? That's the stuff. Mankind's need for caffeine is so great that we've set up intergalactic mining operations to mine synthetic caffeine out of planets in deep space. You play as a young boy who awakens on one of these space mining stations with no memory of who you are or how you got there, and set out to explore the mysteriously abandoned space station, piecing together audio logs, notes, and physical evidence to find out what's going on. Oh, and it turns out you might not be as alone as you first thought. Caffeine is expected in 2015. It brings to mind an indie alien isolation and is definitely one to watch if you're a fan of being mercilessly stalked through a space station by an unknowable horror. And coffee. If you were as disappointed as we were when Silent Hills was cancelled, then Allison Road should be right up your menacing photorealistic alley. You play a man who wakes up on his living room floor surrounded by pizza boxes with no memory of how he got there.
What the hell?
We've all been there. Where we haven't been is trapped in our house trying to uncover the whereabouts of our family while being stalked by a nameless horror that's the very definition of nope. At this point, Allison Road is basically a compelling tech demo aiming for a PC release, but its creator, Christian Kessler, says he's in talks with PlayStation and ID at Xbox about a console version, so fingers crossed. The game is unmistakably inspired by the Silent Hills playable teaser P.T, from the setting, to the visuals, to the radio, to the oppressive sense of menace that it creates.
Huh?
There are even P.T references.
Dad was such a drag?
That said, it looks like it's going to be a bit more gamey than P.T was, with an inventory, voiced protagonist, and equipable weapons that I expect will not make you feel any safer. I'd leave that if I were you, mate. Whether something like this can sustain itself for a full game remains to be seen, and the Xbox One version is far from a sure thing yet, but this is definitely one to keep an eye on, not least because there is no way I'm turning my back on this thing. Those were 5 horror games that will be or could be terrifying Xbox One owners soon. Let us know which you like the look of in the comments, then like and subscribe for more videos from Outside Xbox. Thanks for watching, I'm off to do a few things around the house. Actually, I might just move.